Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. So I wanted to demonstrate and show you how to make this concoction that's wonderful for boosting your immune system. And you can do this at the end of the summer and get it ready for fall and winter. It's called Fire Cider. It's a long-term traditional herbal, I would say, herbal concoction that you can make right in your own kitchen. And it's really just made out of food. And food is medicine, remember. So it's called fire cider for a reason. It has ginger and peppers, garlic, horseradish. It's meant to boost that fire inside your gut and boost your immunity to get that fire going. Because in the winter time, things are, damp and slow. And sometimes when we get sick, it's because we don't have that fire. So it's good just to have the balance, okay? And then it also includes apple cider vinegar. So we're gonna make this concoction. So you do have to plan ahead. You need to let it sit for 4 weeks before you can actually use it. So you'll wanna plan ahead and you wanna do it before you get sick, okay? So we're gonna put everything in a quart mason jar. And we're just gonna start with, let's just start with the onions. So it's going to call for one onion. And you'll see lots of different recipes for fire cider. There are ones where you can include other herbs and spices. So this is just one version of that. You don't have to worry about getting things really small and chopped real fine because we're going to just put everything in the jar. And then at the end, you're going to strain it all out. Okay. And so what I did was I quartered or got those. You just want everything to be able to fit, right? So I'm cutting it in slices. It will be easier to get around because we're going to be putting a lot of stuff in here. So it doesn't have to be too small, but you want to be able to pack it full. Then the next thing I'm going to do is add my my lemon. And I'm adding the whole lemon. So again, I'm just going to cut it into pieces just so it can actually, we can get things around and stuff it nice and full. Okay. If you leave it in too big of pieces, things won't fit. Another thing I like to add to mine is an orange. And you're adding the whole lemon, peel and all. Okay. It's good to wash your citrus ahead of time. So I'm actually going to be kind of stuffing things down in there to fit. I'm going to add a half of an orange. You could add a whole orange as well too, but I want to make sure I have enough space for all my goodies. Okay. Go. And I might add that other half if I have the space. Here we go. Next thing I'm going to do is add horseradish. So the horseradish calls for half a cup of horseradish. And it's around here in Wisconsin, it's hard to actually find horseradish root. If you grow the root, great. So it's a half a cup. So you would just shred it. It's hard to find around here. So I just buy it in the deli section of my grocery store. And you want just plain ground horseradish. So this is literally just horseradish. It's distilled in vinegar, which is okay, water and salt. Okay. So I'm going to add a half a cup of that. I love horseradish, honestly. It's anything that it's interesting because things have different heat, right? Different heat. And horseradish to me is I can sense it in my sinuses. So I'm going to use my spoon and really get that down because we also want to add a half a cup of ginger. Okay, so I'm really kind of getting that down in there. So with ginger, I'm going to buy the ginger root. Okay, and we need a half a cup. We're gonna just start with one of the pieces, and then to easily peel it, you're gonna take a side of a spoon and just rub against the side, seeing how the peeling just comes off. It's an easy way to peel your garlic. And then you're not missing getting rid of a lot of the flesh. And this, I'm just going to cut into pieces. Okay, it doesn't have to be grated, and if you can't get off all the peeling, that's okay. You're just getting off most of it. Okay, and this I'm just going to chop without cutting my fingers. And we want about a half of a cup, it says. Ginger is wonderful food. It's really great for digestion as well. If you have gas or nausea, morning sickness with pregnancy, it's wonderful. Even just having some ginger tea, or yeah, we're gonna just do a little bit more. Ginger tea. A lot of different cultures use ginger right in their food. Again, it helps you digest your food better. Wonderful for all things stomach related. Okay, I'm just going to try to get most of it off. I'm not too worried. Okay, this should be enough. And enough pieces. Yep, this looks good. Chopping that up, and then we're going to add that to our jar as well. Okay, the next thing is 10 garlic cloves. And this, I use my garlic press. It is quite a mess. It's quite a messy recipe here. So I just use my garlic press. Again, it's much faster. You don't have to. You could just peel your garlic and just chop it into pieces. The reason we want to chop and not add it whole is then it allows the medicine of the food to be more accessible, right? So smaller pieces, it gets, we're going to be putting apple cider vinegar over the top of this. So it's considered an herbal extraction. And that allows the apple cider vinegar to get to more parts of the food. Okay, so 10 cloves of garlic. Just quite a lot. Good stuff. You could smell it. It smells delicious. So what do you use this for? What do you use fire cider for? Well, what I do is I use it in my cooking as well. So anything that requires apple cider vinegar, I could add it to a salad dressing. You could add it to any food, like if you were doing making homemade barbecue. I put vinegar in my barbecue sauce, and you could add it to that. Gives it a little bit more heat and depth. I also use it as medicine. So I take a shot of it in the morning. So I have my glass of water in the morning, and then I also have a little shot of fire cider. Important to note. So, it's about a tablespoon. You will want to dilute it before you drink it, because you don't want to just drink apple cider vinegar on its own. It's not good for the enamel on your teeth. So you don't want to drink it straight. So you definitely want to dilute it first. Okay, so what I do, I have this little It's kind of like a shot glass, okay? And I just fill it with about a tablespoon, fill it, about halfway with water, and then I drink that in the morning. So one of the good things about that is apple cider vinegar gets your digestive juices going. So it's good. Good for blood sugar, apple cider vinegar. You've probably seen that. Okay, one more. We're almost there. My fingers are slippery. Okay, last one. Okay, here we go. That last one off. I'm just going to rinse my fingers real quick. The last thing we're going to add are chilies or cayenne peppers. You can, if you don't have the peppers, you can actually just use cayenne powder. Okay, and we happen to grow chilies in our garden. I am going to very, very carefully cut these. And trying not to touch them with my fingers. And I'm just going to cut it into a couple pieces. So I'm going to take the spoon here. If you're to be working with chilies, I suggest you wear gloves if you're going to be chopping them open. Okay, so I just added 2 of those. Put that back. And then the last thing we're going to do is cover it all with apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. So what you want to use is raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with what says the mother. Okay, so the mother is where all of the good nutrients are. It's actually cultured. Okay, can you hear it bubbling? It's kind of getting down in there. So I'm going to just make sure that it's good and covered. So then what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit. And you want things to be able to be a little bit loose because we're going to shake it. Get down in there. Okay. I'm going to clean off the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover it and then let it sit for 4 weeks. Okay. So because we added the apple cider vinegar, you do not want to cover your mason jar with your metal lid. You want to either put some wax paper or plastic over the top if you don't have a cover like this. These I just bought at Walmart. They're plastic covers for mason jar lids. I love them. They're great. They're not totally leak proof, so you got to be a little bit careful. So I'm just going to shake it up and make sure I get the apple cider vinegar in and all the bubbles out. So I might go ahead and fill it back up again. Let's see. So again, if you just use your metal lid, because there's vinegar here, it's going to corrode the vinegar and it will rust. So you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to label this. Very important to label your extractions so you know what you have and the date. So I'm going to put fire cider here. And what I love too about these plastic lids, I use these dry erase markers and then I can clean off the top. It stays on there for only a little while and then I can clean it off and reuse it. Okay, instead of putting something plastic or like tape or a label on your jar. So fire cider, and then I'm going to put today's date. Okay, just the 10th. And that way I know in 4 weeks, I'll probably put that too, 4 weeks. 4 weeks, I'll strain it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my windowsill. And I'm going to put it someplace. You can just put it on your counter if you want. Put it someplace where you're going to remember that it's there. Okay, and to shake it often. Okay, so you want to be able to just give it a little shake. Try to do it every day. If you don't do it every day, that's okay too. So there you go. So in 4 weeks, what you're going to do is you're going to strain this, okay, through a fine mesh sieve. And then the last thing you're going to add is honey, and it's a 1/4 cup of honey. Raw honey is the best if you can. I'm just going to stick this right here on my windowsill, knowing that it's there. And then you can add the honey, and then you can bottle it. Again, I love to just recycle bottles, so you could just bottle it in. If you're not going to get a whole quart, just remember that, and then you can use it. And it should stay good for, I use mine up in a year because it's vinegar based. It should be fine for a year. Okay. I hope this recipe you find fun and tasty and keeps you healthy.